Let's delve a little deeper into the mysteries of Moho's pin bones. Before we begin drawing, let's apply a brush style to the strokes we draw. From the tool palette, select the Add Point tool and then enable Bezier curves. Begin clicking and dragging to establish the direction and value of the curve. Drag to the first point to close the curve. Select the Transform Points tool and adjust each Bezier node to produce a worm-like shape. This default position indicates the worm at rest. Once your curves are perfected, rename this layer to Worm. Then create a second vector layer and name this Ground. Choose the Add Points tool and drag out a ground plane line. Use the Paint Bucket tool to apply the default stroke. Now add a bone layer, naming it Bone. Choose the Add Bone tool and click in the center of the worm. Set the layer origin to the center of the bone. Then use the Transform Layer tool to enlarge the size of the bone. Use the Add Bone tool to add more bones to the worm, holding the Control or Command key to avoid snapping. Use the Transform Bone tool to ideally locate each pin bone. Press Ctrl or Command A to select all the bones, selecting the Bone Strength tool to check the strength of each pin bone. Drag the worm layer into the bone layer and then use the Transform Points tool to scale the worm down to match the size of the bones. Select the bone layer and then transform and scale the worm so that it's the size you need and at the place you need it to begin crawling. Position the time slider at frame 1 and then select the Transform Bone tool, making the worm flat. Advance to frame 12 and set the onion skins as shown. Then adjust each pin bone so that the worm appears to rise up, getting ready to move forward. Adjust each pin bone to maintain volume in the worm as he rises up. Scrub the time slider to check your work as you go. Select and copy the frames from frame 1, then paste them on frame 24. Drag the pin bones at the front of the worm, elongating his shape as though he's making progress forward, while keeping the end of the worm from moving forward. To make the worm appear to crawl across the screen, simply repeat these steps until you reach your goal.